is, but Steph Curry is unbelievable. His brother is Seth Curry. Seth Curry, ever since the All-Star break, he's averaging, listen to this, 15 points a game. 15 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. That's after the All-Star game. He's back from his injury. He looks unbelievable. If you don't have him right now and you need a point guard, Seth Curry is my number one pickup for point guard this week.
Okay, now I need to ask this because you got very excited about 15 points a game, which I'm not saying is bad, but you were not so high on Dillon Brooks, and he's shooting guard, small forward, so we really need to focus on that a little bit later. But 15 points a game, is that huge for waiver wire pickups? I think it is, especially at this point in the season. You can't find a lot of points out there at this point, so I agree with that as a great pickup. Now, let's revisit some players, and this is going to happen, especially later in the season. You're going to have to revisit players and decide, are they worth picking up or not? TJ McConnell, still under 60% owned. Caris LeVert is now back. By the way, did you notice how well he played?
Oh, he's playing great. You and Case were right on him. I love that.
That's right.
And, I'll admit I'm wrong, but right now he's playing terrific. LeVert's a great pickup. I'm afraid a lot of people are dropping TJ just because of LeVert. I think TJ has a spot there. I mean, even though his defensive numbers are unbelievable. But again, I think people are really nervous about LeVert coming back.
Yeah, it's funny because it's almost like McConnell's getting punished for getting 10 steals in the game. Everyone's like, oh, he's not going to do that again. But that is insane.
He had 9 steals in the first half, which is crazy.
That's right. Now, we do have some commenters. We have Al Fraser saying, West Side, get him. Do you understand this statement, Ross? I don't
West Side, get him. No, I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Maybe he'll text us back and let us know what that means.
Yeah.
So another name I want to bring up, he had a horrible rookie season. He plays for Golden State. It's Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's the past 3 games, he's been averaging 19 points a game, 4 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds. He's getting steals. He's playing unbelievable right now, and they're giving him playing time. I mean, it's a guy that if you need a point guard and you have one of these big roster leagues, he could be worth picking up. He's available in a lot of leagues right now. I think over 90%. So Jordan Poole, for me, I just feel he had a horrible rookie season. I get it. You're fearful of him. You don't know what to think of him. He was one of the big disappointments last year for rookies, but he's been playing great the past 5 or 6 games. Take a look. If you think you need him, could be a good pickup. His playing time is getting bigger and bigger every week.
I think that's a great call. Now, I want to mention another point guard eligible guy. We've talked about him before, but DeAnthony Melton is putting up some big time numbers, especially lately. Now, if you look at his numbers, they're going to be skewed by the fact that he was out for a month. So you have to make sure you look at the right pool of numbers. But if you do, you're going to see that he's putting up big numbers. Now, he's not a traditional point guard. He's not getting a lot of assists, but he's scoring a lot. He's got 3-pointers. He gets steals. This is a good pickup to make, and he's point guard eligible. I'm going to mention a couple of others.
DeAnthony Melton, just so you know, I saw him play in high school. He went to high school literally 2 miles from my house. I mean, I know this kid. I know his family. Great kid. I mean, he had a little problems at USC. He had to leave early because of certain reasons, but he's a great pickup. I love how you mentioned before I did. I love DeAnthony Melton. Okay,
well, I'm glad that met your approval. Jalen Brunson is another one that I've mentioned a lot. He's more of a scoring type. It's interesting because I cut DeAnthony Melton to get Jalen Brunson, and I was looking for points. It all depends on what you need in your league, but these are good pickups. I want to say hi to Sam Jacobowitz. He just said hi to us. Shout out to you, Sam. Let us know if you have any questions. I also want to say, if you're new to the show and you haven't already done so, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. Ross and I love to debate with you in the comments, and so does Casey when he's not at a child custody case. I can't believe he got pulled away for that. All right, Ross, is there anyone else we need to mention for point guards before we move on? Anybody that's kind of
a couple others. Here we go. Let's talk about streamers. I like Reggie Jackson, not the baseball player Reggie, not Mr. October, but Reggie Jackson, who plays for the LA Clippers. Patrick Beverley is hurt. He's not playing much. Reggie Jackson is filling in his shoes. He's playing 30 minutes a game. Again, I don't like the Clippers point guard play, but he is their point guard. He's getting points. He had the second most points last game for his team. He's playing well. Again, he's a streamer. So if you pick him up, it'll probably be just for a week. But if you're looking for a guy who's going to get some assists and a lot of playing time and some points, pick him up today. But you probably end up dropping him on Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Another guy we talked about before is Emmanuel Quickly. I love his name. He plays for the Knicks. He's getting 26, 27, 28 minutes a game right now. He's averaging 13, 14 points a game, six assists. He's getting rebounds. Quickly, we talked about him before, but he's getting a lot of playing time, especially with Patton is hurt for the Knicks. So again, Quickly's a great pickup.
All right. I love it. And I do love his name too. But Ross, I have a question for you. I don't know what to make of Patrick Beverley. Tell me what you think about him. I know he's currently injured. He's a little dinged up, but what do you think of him in terms of his stats and whether he's worth a pickup?
Listen, you heard it from me first. The Clippers are going to trade for a point guard. They're going to get a high-end point guard. They'll trade away Beverley. They'll probably trade away Reggie Jackson. They'll probably trade away somebody else to get a high-end guy for the playoff run. Patrick Beverley is a great defensive player. He's up and down when it comes to offense. He's somebody that you can't rely on to score a lot of points all the time. I'm not a huge fan. I just feel the Clippers, their big Achilles heel right now is point guard, and they're going to fill that very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, what I don't understand Patrick Beverley's numbers. Every once in a while, I look at the numbers in fantasy, and it just doesn't line up. I see his stats, and I'm like, what's he doing? A lot of his value seems to be in the fact that he doesn't turn the ball over, I guess, but I'm not going to own a guy just for that. But I will say this. I think Patrick Beverley is one of these players that's a much better real life player than fantasy player. You know, he brings a lot to the court, great defensive presence, but I don't see him as a great own in fantasy. Okay, let's move on to shooting guards. Ross, I'm going to let you start this one too. Eventually I might just hog the screen at the beginning, but I'm going to let you go.
No, let me just mention a few. You mentioned him before, and I just want to say if he's available in your league, you should pick him up, is Dillon Brooks. He's just not doing well offensively, but defensively, he's been averaging over a steal a game. He's averaging like 18 points a game right now. He's shooting the ball. He's a big part of that offense right now. For shooting guard for me right now is Dillon Brooks. He also can play small forward too. That University of Oregon product right now, he's playing right now to his potential. If you need a shooting guard, he's my number one pickup right now this week. That's under 60%. Dan, who do you have?
Okay, so I'm with you on that. I have Will Barton a little bit higher. Actually,
I have Will Barton too. I have him number 2, but I love it. Tell me why you like Will Barton so much.
And I own Will Barton and Dillon Brooks, so you know I'm on board with what you're saying. But Will Barton is just on fire. I mean, he's shooting over 50% from the field, which from a shooting guard small forward is not that easy to do. He's averaging 20.6 a game in the last 14 days, 3.8 threes, 4.2 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 1 steal. His turnovers are fine. His free throw percentage is good too. He's doing everything. Now, is he going to keep it up? I don't know, but fantasy basketball is partially a game of streaks. You want to ride those streaks because you can win for several weeks and they can put you in the playoffs all by itself. So I think Will Barton is hotter than Dillon Brooks. He would be the guy I would add on top. I have no problem with you adding Dillon Brooks, though. That's a great call. Let me say another name that may surprise you. You ready?
Let me hear.
Matisse Fibel. This guy, he's doing absolutely nothing for the most part other than stealing the ball like crazy and blocking shots. It's a really weird profile. I don't know that I would recommend it to every team, but I will say that he could be a fit for your team. If you are great in points and you need steals and blocks, Matisse Fibel is a great under the wire pickup. People won't see it coming, but I think he's starting to gain some traction. In fact, let me look at what he's only 11% rostered.
Wow.
So you can definitely get him, but there's a reason. He's got pretty terrible numbers. He has, you know what his free throw percentage is? This is going to crack you up, Ross. 0%. He hasn't
0.0. You have all courses incomplete.
Now that's only in the last 14 days. So, his free throw percentage is actually 1,000 in the last 30 days because he shot like 4 free throws, but he made them all. So that's another guy that I think at the shooting guard position is underrated. Who else do you have?
I have, this is a streamer because, Beasley's not back yet for Minnesota quite yet. He'll be back next week. But if you need a streamer, this guy's averaging 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and it's Jalen Newell for Minnesota Timberwolves. He's a streamer. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get when, Beasley comes back from his suspension, but when he does, it'd be interesting how much playing time Newell gets. He's been tearing it up. I mean, he's been averaging, as I mentioned, 18 points a game, and the coach loves him. You know, with the new coach they have in Minnesota, he loves this guy. So again, could be a good pickup. It's a little chancy, but we'll see what happens.
No, I had him on my list also, and I was really wondering, what do we make of this guy? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, when Beasley comes back, I don't know. But again, if you're in one of these big roster leagues and you can pick up somebody, it's not a bad pickup.
Yeah, listen, you know what he ranks over the last 14 days on average?
I'm listening.
32nd.
32nd. And that's also O.J. Simpson's playing number. Yes.
That's true. So be careful. We don't know what that means. But listen, Jalen Newell, he ranks 32nd overall, averaging 18 points a game and 3.53. So yes, he's the kind of player you pick up. I think you go with the streaks in fantasy basketball, especially at your back end roster positions. Let me mention a couple other guys. We've talked about some of these guys before. Josh Richardson. He is a guy who, he is now 57% owned. So he just is hovering around that. He's gone over 60 at some point. So some weeks we don't mention him because he's over 60. Other weeks he's down a little bit. Well, he ranks 35th in Yahoo over the last 14
He's been playing
days.
great. He's on my list too. He's been playing terrific the past couple of weeks. He plays for the Dallas Mavericks, and he's been averaging, I think, the past 2 weeks like 15 points a game, and he looks great. Assists, rebounds, everything.
Yeah, and not only that, 1.6 steals and 1 block a game over the last 14 days.
Oh, very good.
He's contributing in everything.
And the reason Dallas signed him, actually wearing a Dallas shirt today, the reason Dallas signed him is for his defense. Dallas had the best offense last year, horrible defense. They said, let's bring in Richardson because of his defensive skills, and he's giving them offense. He's unbelievable. Could be a great pickup.
It's true. I was wondering if you lost some kind of bet because you were wearing that Dallas shirt.
The Dallas Mavericks did beat my Clippers last night, so I just said, you know what? I'm going to reward them and wear my Dallas Mavericks shirt.
Well, I was wondering if maybe you lost some kind of bet with Mark Cuban, who we had on the show. No bets. Okay, keep going. Right. Let's go. Now I'm going to give you a name. This is not a name that you've ever really gravitated towards anytime I've mentioned him, but I got to say him again.
Do it.
I also want to say at this point in the season, one of the reasons we're saying the names over and over, it's not that we think you haven't heard of these players. It's that you don't realize they're still out there. They're still not rostered highly enough. Danny Green. Do you know what this guy's doing?
He's playing great. Danny Green is somebody that goes like this, up and down. A beat is out. I mean, Philadelphia needs people to fill in to take his place. We'll talk about some other Sixers that are coming up, but Danny Green's playing great. Tell me what he's doing.
Okay, so, I mean, this is a snapshot. It's the last 14 days, but like you said, Danny Green can play great. He ranks 49th overall in Yahoo. He's getting 28 minutes a game. So we know that's one thing you look for. Do they have the minutes? He's got the minutes, but he's shooting decent percentage with 3.2 threes a game.
Wow.
3.2 threes a game, 4.8 rebounds, two assists, not that great, but 1.4 steals, 1.2 blocks, and 0.8 turnovers. So he's extremely efficient, and he's got shooting guard, small forward eligibility. This is why I've always been in on Danny Green. In fact, why don't you bring up any other name that you want to about shooting guard, and then I'm going to get back to you. I'm just looking at the numbers right now. I want to find out where Danny Green ranks overall on the season in some of these things.
You know what? I shooting guard. I'm completely done with shooting guard. I want to move forward to small forward.
Okay,
I'm tapped out. I mean, I think we mentioned some really good names. We gave you like 3 or 4 great names. If you need shooting guards, just listen to us and pick up the guys we mentioned. There's no one really else that I love that much right now.
And it doesn't matter anyway because Danny Green qualifies as small forward. So we're just going to do the Danny Green category. We're morphing
Danny Green category. Here we go.
Okay, give me your top small forward ad.
So I don't know how to pronounce it, Dan. You can help me with this. We call him the Hokey Pokey. He plays for Oklahoma City. He's Serbian. He's 7'2", and he qualifies as a small forward. He's 7'2". I don't understand that.
7'2"?
He's 7'2". He's bigger than Casey.
Okay,
Casey Scheinfeld. So what I'm saying is this. His name is Alexia, I think. Alexia Pokusevsky.
Pokusevsky.
So he is See, let me just, I'm going a little tangent right now, so just bear with me. Oklahoma City is not playing Al Horford. He rested 2 days in a row. I feel he's on the trading block. Why would a guy have to rest 2 games of rest? He's not hurt. He's resting. He's like, oh my God, I need to rest 2 games in a row. Doesn't make any sense. So Oklahoma City is going to trade all their veterans, which already started doing, and they're going to play their young guys like Alexa. So Alexa's been averaging like 18 points a game, 10 rebounds. I mean, this guy's been just tearing it up. Block shots. He does everything. And if he gets the playing time, which he will, he's a great pickup. I love this kid. We call him the Hokey Pokey. He's unbelievable. Pick him up because not that many people own him right now, but he's going to get a lot of playing time. Oklahoma City is going to do a lot of moves with the trading deadline next week. So just bear with me, pick him up. It's totally worth it. He had like 20 points and 16 rebounds on Saturday night. Unbelievable.
You know what? That's a great segue too, because now I'm going to go to another team that may be dealing players.
Do your stuff.
The Washington Wizards. So this is a player that's been all over the map for me. Ruijimura.
He's born in Japan. He's one of the only players in NBA history that was born in Japan and plays in the NBA.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And he does sound a little bit like a sushi dish. But Ruijimura, I thought, no, this guy isn't coming around. I don't think he's going to be that great. Then in our league, our friend Chris Atwater scooped him up and he said, I don't understand why you're so down on Ruijimura. I looked at his numbers. I was like, oh, Chris is right. He's been coming on. Well, then you know what happened? This is hilarious. Chris cut Ruijimura. But he does not belong cut. He ranks 29th overall over the last 14 days, and he's doing everything. He's getting 31 minutes, 31.
He's starting right now. He had a game of his life a couple of nights ago. Best game ever played ever. Points, rebounds, blocks. You're right. He's playing great. It's a great pickup. But just so you know, just so people, Ross and Dan, you know, he's owned in 63% of the leagues right now. I know he is, but I still think he's a great pickup.
Yes. He's actually down to 62. So
okay, 62.
Every once in a while we bend the rules.
We know that. We know that, fans. So please don't write me emails and letters saying that you guys are wrong. I know what the stats are. I'm a genius here. But that all being said, he's a great pickup. And I just feel the Wizards are going to be doing a lot of dealing and willing right now because they're not happy with their team at all. And
the same is true with the Detroit Pistons. And so Sadiq Bey's value is just going to keep going up. I know you're happy about it because you have him in our league.
Right.
You probably know what Sadiq Bey's been doing.
Oh, yeah. He had 26 points and like 12 rebounds last game. That was last night.
It was 28 points.
Sadiq Bey's playing great. I mean, again, Detroit's a team that's going nowhere. They're looking to deal and wheel and just play the players they have. We'll talk about that a little later. But Sadiq Bey, we bring it, I think every week we bring his name up. And
we do.
Again, he's a great pickup for small forward.
But I will make this point. If you hear us saying the same names, don't think of that as, oh, these guys aren't that good. They don't know what they're talking about. They're always saying the same guys. The same guys are going to win you the league. You got to pick up the best players. I don't care whether we've said them 100 times or one time. You pick up the best players. So I'm now going to talk about a couple of guys that have some specialty categories, like Carmelo Anthony. He's won me over. He's a points guy, but he also does a little of everything. He's slopping his way to some good stuff. And meanwhile, who did he just pass on the all-time scoring list? There was somebody he just passed.
Oscar Robinson, was it? I can't remember who he passed.
It was, somebody.
Again, this guy won 4 gold medals in the Olympics for basketball. It's never been done before. This guy is just unbelievable. He's playing great. He's scoring. He's not going to win you any rebound titles or anything right now, but I don't think that matters. But I like him. I like watching. I've always liked him, watching him play. You know, he went to the same school that you're wearing right now on your shirt. That's where he went to college. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. He went to the Q's?
He went to the Q's.
I had no idea. No, I knew that. Carmelo, what am I talking about? Of course, I saw him.
Of course you knew that. Good acting.
Good
acting, Dr. Dan. Yeah, right. You knew that. Come on.
You know why? It was because I was thinking about, well, wait, who's next on my list? And I saw Kevin Porter and I got all distracted. So let's talk about Kevin Porter.
Go ahead.
What do you think about this guy? He's a risky pickup. I would see him as a streamer, but he's a streamer that could kind of go supernova, or he could be off the team.
I like him as a streamer, like you said. There's a few other guys I like a little better, but he comes up with some unbelievable games, and then for like 3 games in a row, he'll do nothing. So he's somebody I don't trust.
Yeah.
But if again, he's a streamer. You said it perfectly. There's nothing else I can say.
Let me just add one thing to it. When you're picking up a streamer, make sure they're playing 4 games in a week. There's no reason to
remember, it's a streamer, not a streaker. People mix them up. They're
right.
not going to be streaking down the quad right now, but they're streaming, which means that they're going to get a lot of playing time because somebody's hurt, somebody's not playing that much. So they'll be getting a lot of playing time. That's why they're called a streamer.
That's right. We're not recommending nudity, but Gary Trent Jr. is another specialty pickup. He hits a lot of threes and he scores a lot of points. Does Gary Trent Jr. do much of anything else? Probably not.
Yeah. We talked about him before, like you said. I mean, I like him. I like Portland. CJ McCollum, I don't know when he's coming back. I can't predict it. I know Christian Wood is back. I know my boy Casey's happy. He has him on his team. But CJ McCollum, when he comes back, I think Trent's playing time is going to come down. And we'll talk about that a little later. But another guy I want to mention, I think he's available in 92% of the leagues or 94% of the leagues. And his dad played in the NBA. It's Kenyan Martin Jr. I saw him play in high school. He went to Sierra Canyon right down the street from me. We call him KJ Martin. He is playing for the Houston Rockets. He's averaging, like the past few games, he's averaging 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He's getting blocks. This guy is going to get a lot of playing time. Houston's doing a lot of wheeling dealing right now. They want all their young kids to play. He's one of the young kids. He's somebody that I recommend you guys picking up now because I feel he'll have a huge NBA future. And I love KJ Martin. So there you go.
Man, I that makes me feel old that Kenyan Martin Jr. I remember when Kenyan Martin Sr. was a young guy himself, but that was when I was too.
Well, that's the reason I call him KJ. I don't feel as old.
You don't like the junior thing either. So
I hate
it. Now I want to pause for a sec to remind everybody that you can come on this show if you want. If you want to come on by video or just by audio, it's fine either way. But you go to www.callmfsn.com. And I also want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. Ross, me, or Casey, or somebody of our group is going to get back to you. And we love to make arguments with you about all of these things or agree with you. We'll see. Now, let's move to power forwards. There's one name that I really want
to Hold on. One more name for
you got another name.
Forwards. I just want to mention Rudy Gay for San Antonio. Eldridge is gone. Rudy Gay's getting points, getting playing time. He hits 3-pointers. He loves rebounds. If you need somebody, I don't count him as a streamer. I think Rudy Gay is going to be a good pickup for you guys if you guys need a small forward. So Rudy Gay, just because Aldridge is out of San Antonio, and Rudy Gay's getting a lot of playing time. I know he's an old veteran, but I still love him.
You know what? I also wanted to mention one other guy now that I think about it. It's Daniel House, because with Houston, I don't know if you saw, but they just recently made a trade.
I saw that. PJ Tucker's gone. The PJ Tucker's the Milwaukee Buck. I have that later in the show. I think House is a good pickup. Again, they're just going with the youth movement in Houston. So if you're under 25 and you play the Houston Rockets, pick up that player immediately.
This is a way to get good value, is to recognize that veterans are going to get traded away and the young guys are going to play. So that's what you want to look for. There's actually a young guy on Minnesota. I'm blanking on his name, blocking a lot of shots. I'll find out the name for you in a second, but he's going to start playing a lot more. But my number one pickup at power forward.
Okay.
This is a guy that we've mentioned all season.
I'm excited. This is going to be good.
Listen, I don't want to let you down because I've already said this name a lot, but we haven't been mentioning Kelly Olynyk a lot. But he has been on fire.
I love Kelly. And tell me what school he went to. Where did he go to college?
Kelly Olynyk. Did he go to Gonzaga? Am I remembering?
Gonzaga. You got it.
I redeemed myself from having partially zoned out on Kevin Porter Jr. when you asked me if I knew whether Carmelo Anthony went to Syracuse. Of course I know that. Okay, so Kelly Olynyk, he's over the last 14 days. Guess how many players rank above him in Yahoo? Let's see if you can guess. 2. Only 2.
I almost had it.
You almost had it. And he gets over 30 minutes a game. He does everything. He's got 11 steals in the last 14 days.
He's been great. And Bam's been hurt. He's been beaten up a little bit, so he's getting a lot of playing time. That's a great pickup. I actually had Kelly as a center, but he's a power forward also. He qualifies for both. Kelly's a great pickup right now. He's, like you said, he's playing a lot of playing time. He gets rebounds, he gets points, gets blocks. He has great hair. He's somebody you should pick up. That's great, Dr. Dan. I love it.
Oh, yes, I love it. Okay, so now listen. Ross makes a very good point. Kelly Olynyk is a great pickup at power forward, but he's an even better pickup at center because center is a weaker position. So the fact that he qualifies at both means you got to get him. Now, I just want to mention something that happened in our league. This is not actually that relevant to people out there in terms of the percentage ownership, but you got to watch your waiver wire very carefully, because sometimes people make inexplicable cuts. Who was the guy who cut Richaun Holmes in our league? Did you see that?
Yeah, I tried to pick him up. I didn't get him. I saw that. But that's a great example. You're getting away from power forward right now, but that's a great example of like, you just
Richaun Holmes is power forward.
Yeah. You just got to watch the waiver wire every week, and you got to pay attention who's being dropped.
That's the thing. We're talking about 60% and under.
Yeah. A player will get like one or two bad games in a row, and then the manager just gives up on him and cuts him. And I get it. It happens. Or maybe you got to watch out for it. That's a great example. Keep going.
Maybe they had a couple of beers and they do that. It's okay. So let's talk about other power forwards. Now, you picked up Danilo Galinari, even though you were like saying he was too streaky for you, but you picked him up. So tell me about that.
So Gillinari, he's also a small forward too. Gillinari has been averaging 18 points a game. He's been starting now. He's been hurt a lot of the season, but now he's back. He's playing like 28, 30 minutes a game. The past 2 weeks, he's just been on fire. And Atlanta's a team that I think they're in disarray a little bit. Trae Young's not having a great season. He's playing good, but not great. Gillinari used to be a Clipper. I know his style of play very well. He loves shooting threes. He's not big with defense, but he does his best. But Gillinari, I think, is on the upswing right now, and I feel if you can have a chance to pick him up, I think he's a good pickup, especially for your playoff run.
All right, now a certain phrase popped out of me. You said he used to play for the Clippers, and I know you're a Clippers fan, but doesn't it feel to you like everybody used to play for the Clippers?
You're 100% right, Dr. Dan. I can't argue with that. You're 100% right. I think everybody in the NBA played for the Clippers.
It really feels that way.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some other power forwards. Let's have our weekly debate about Nerlens Noel and whether he belongs on this list or not. I think he's still a great pickup. I know that Mitchell Robinson's coming back.
Please just get off with him. He's playing like 13 minutes a game. He's just so many better players than him right now. Just stay away from Noel. It's not a good pickup. He's getting less every week. He's getting less and less playing time. His numbers are going down. Take a look at it.
But Ross,
first
of all, the last game he played 26 minutes.
I didn't know that. Okay. Well, maybe he's in the upswing. I don't know. Who knows what he's doing?
And he had 4 blocks. Listen, only 3 people have more average blocks than Nerlens Noel. So it really depends on what you need. I understand your point. I'm not saying that he's like the best pickup, but if you need a blocks guy and he won't hurt you in free throws, unlike, somebody like Poyle or however we say his name. So he's still a good pickup. He's not a priority pickup right now because Mitchell Robinson's coming back. I'm totally with you. Now, let me ask you this. I put in a bid for Maxi Cleaver. I was high on Maxi Cleaver from the beginning. I got outbid by Lauren on him. That upset me. Then she cut him. I picked him up, and then he sucked. And I was like, then I got rid of him. Then he started playing well, and I picked him up again. This is a big man who blocks shots and hits threes. So he's just kind of a weird profile. If that's what you need, he's a good fit. What do you think about Maxi Cleaver?
Not a huge fan. He again, his shooting percentage isn't the greatest, but I feel he's an okay pickup. There's better players out there right now that we'll talk about on the waiver wire for power forwards. Another player that I mentioned before a few weeks ago, but his numbers in all categories. I'm talking about blocks, steals, rebounds, assists. His points are not that great, but they're decent. Is Royce O'Neil, not Ryan O'Neil, the actor, but Royce O'Neil. He plays for Utah Jazz.
Don't pick up Tatum O'Neil.
Tatum O'Neil's another great one, or Tip O'Neil. That's another one.
Yep.
But that all being said, Royce O'Neil is somebody that does all categories. And I just feel that this is a guy that's going to help you in every way. And if you check his stats out right now for the past couple of weeks, he's been averaging like 9 points a game, 8 rebounds, blocks, steals. You name it, he does it. So if you need like a utility guy, let's call it a utility guy, that he's not going to flash you with points, but he plays like 35, 36 minutes a game. He plays for the Utah Jazz, who are in first place. And then all being said, Royce O'Neil, I feel if you need a power forward, could be a great pickup for you.
Okay, now, Ross, do we have any other power forwards or should we move on to centers now?
Well, I'll just mention names. PJ Tucker, as we mentioned, he was traded to the Bucks. I'm curious to see how much playing time he gets Milwaukee. And another guy that is up and down, but if you need a point scorer and he's rebounding a little better, is Doug McDermott of Indiana. I know he said, oh, well, with LeVert coming back and with a couple of their other guys coming back, he's not getting playing time. He's still playing 25 minutes a game. So Doug McDermott, I like him a lot too. The coach loves him. I feel if you need somebody in your power forward position for points, he's a good pickup.
Okay, so listen, that's a great point because you really want to watch minutes per game, just like we were saying with Nerlens Noel. If the minutes tank, then you could be in trouble. But if not, it doesn't necessarily affect your player badly. If another great player comes back, could make them play better. It's all about whether they're getting the minutes.
Let's talk centers. Here we go.
Okay, I'm going to let you go first.
This kid is 7'2". He's a rookie from UCLA. He was from New York, New York. That's where he went to high school in New York, New York. So he's East Coast, West Coast. His name is Moses Brown. He plays for your Houston Rockets. He is somebody that's going to get a lot of playing time at center. Houston's making a lot of changes. They're going to start the young guys, like I mentioned. If you're under 25 and you play for the Rockets, you're a starter. So that all being said, this kid is averaging like 20. Last game he played, let me read his stats: 20 points, 16 rebounds, 1 block. The past 2 weeks, he's been averaging 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. So if give it playing time, which I think they will, I think Moses Brown's a great pickup. Dr. Dan, what do you think about Moses Brown?
I think it's a really good pickup, and I think it's the kind of player that you can get because trades are happening, and he's going to come in. But really, 20 points and 16 rebounds, that's going to pop out of you. I had 1 block in the game too. So if he can put up blocks, also, he could be a monster.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you should pick him up. Another guy I like, who I worked with this guy a bunch of times. I know him. And he's playing for your Philadelphia Sixers, is Dwight Howard. You're saying, Russ, why are you picking Dwight Howard? He's been in the league for so many years. He's old. He's stale. Why are you picking that? Embiid is hurt. Dwight Howard comes off the bench. He doesn't start, but he plays like 30 minutes a game. He's been averaging like 11 points a game the past 2 weeks, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. So Dwight Howard is somebody I feel is going to keep getting playing time. I love how he comes off the bench. He's a great role player. And at center, it could be a great pickup for you.
I agree with that, especially if you could take the hit at free throws. You know, he's
horrible.
He's a free throw drain.
Horrible.
But you know what? If you have a great free throw shooting team, you can handle it. And if you have a terrible free throw shooting team, you can also handle it. It's only if you're in the middle that you can't handle Dwight Howard. So I think that's a great pickup. I am still surprised that Robert Williams is not owned in over 60% of leagues.
Me too. I didn't even bring him up this week just because we talk about him every week, and I don't get why people aren't jumping on him so quickly. The only reason I would be off his bandwagon right now, if the Celtics come out and make a huge trade for a center, which I don't know if they'll do. We'll see what happens. They have 1 week.
But you know what? He's doing this in 19 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Over the last 30 days, he is the 12th ranked player. Over the last 30 days, he's the 12th ranked player in Yahoo, averaging only 19 minutes a game. This guy is a monster, and he's had 35 blocks in the last month. Over 134 points, 110 rebounds, 27 assists, and 13 steals. He does everything, and he only turned the ball over 12 times. And he also is shooting 74%. How is this guy?
And he's starting, and Daniel Theus is on the bench. So take that.
Exactly. Listen, he is my top priority pickup at center. You better, you're not going to find him on this waiver wire show next week because he's going to be over 60% owned. Finally, people are going to see, I think. But you're right, Ross. It could change with a trade. Who else do we have as some back end guys? I've got a couple of interests that I want to mention. But if you have somebody, you can jump in first.
No, go ahead. I mean, I'm curious to see what you have.
So Justin Patton of the Houston Rockets, he's showing some good signs of life. 12 steals and 14 blocks over the last 30 days. But, as we said, with players on the way out, those veteran players moving out, PJ Tucker and people like that, there's a lot more minutes to go around, and they're going to play the youth movement. I think it's time to hop in on Patton. That would be a good pickup. I think if you want a low-end guy, now you're a Clippers guy, so you might object to this, but Ivica Zubac, he's not great, but if you need a fill-in player, just make sure he's playing 4 games in a week. You don't need to have him.
He's been playing really well. I watch every Clipper game. He's been averaging like 13 points a game the past 2 weeks, and he gets rebounds, he gets blocks, and he's been playing a lot. I think he's available in like 70% of the leagues too. So it's not a bad pickup, but I'd rather take chances on other players that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more upside. What about I think his name's Claxton on the Nets, right?
Yeah, I picked that guy up. I like Claston. He's getting more playing time. He gets rebounds, he gets blocks, and he loves getting rebounds. But I feel that they're going to give that kid a lot more playing time, and DeAndre Jordan is going to get less playing time. We'll see what happens, but I love that kid.
Okay, now we're going to segue into trades because
okay, here we go.
Hassan Whiteside is owned in exactly 60% of Yahoo leagues. All kinds of trades could affect his value, but who else do you see getting more value with trades, or maybe guys that you want to trade for at the deadline just in leagues?
Well, I mean, I know he's not signed right. I mean, there's going to be a lot of signing going on with the trade deadline coming up next week on the 26th of March. So that's actually next Friday. So that being said, I mean, DeMarcus Cousins, I know I mentioned his name before. He's a free agent, which means anybody can sign him. But I feel whoever signs him is going to play him and play him a lot. And before he left Houston, he was scoring. He was averaging over 10 rebounds a game. He was playing great. Another guy I like is Andre Drummond. I mean, Andre Drummond hasn't played in like a month, and he just sits around. He rides the bike. He stays in shape. He's not playing in games, but I feel he's another one that is going to be traded. He's going to go to a contender, and he's going to get a lot of playing time. So I feel he's another one that you got to watch out for too. I think John Wall of Houston, like we mentioned, they're trading away. They're getting rid of all their veterans. They want to get rid of their, I know what they're doing. They're getting rid of their salary. They're getting rid of everything. I think John Wall is somebody else that's going to be traded away to a contender, LA Clippers. And that all being said, I feel that some of these guys that are on the block to be traded before the deadline could be really good pickups right now.
And let's remember that what that means is there's going to be voids left on the teams they leave. These players are going to come in and take those minutes. But those new players, and I especially do agree with DeMarcus Cousins. He's always played well. I'd scoop him up. You know, I feel for you, Ross, because you've had Drummond on your bench for a month.
Oh, he's just killing me. I have Drummond. I have Durant that hasn't played in a month. I mean, my team is like all. I also have Al Horford who has been resting the past 2 days, two games for resting.
A lot of players on Ross's bench are resting.
Yeah, if you're on my team, you're not playing for certain reasons. It's just part of the season, but there you go.
Okay, now let's take a minute or two here to just talk about buy lows or values that we see in the trade market in fantasy. We were talking about NBA moves and how that's going to affect things. Who are some of your top guys that you would want to be buying right now?
I love this guy, and he's been hurt. He's been playing okay, and he plays in a small market team. He's actually playing in Tampa right now because you're not allowed to play in Canada. So the Toronto team has to play in Florida. So I love Fred VanVleet. He's from Rockford, Illinois. He's a 3-point guy. He gets you steals. He gets you assists. VanVleet is somebody that I feel his owners are kind of down on him in a little bit, but I think he'll have a great run to end the season. VanVleet for me is somebody that I would love to trade for right now.
That's one reason I like that trade target, Ross, is that you got to remember brand name. Like Fred VanVleet isn't quite there with the brand name, and it means that you can scoop in there and get somebody who thinks maybe they're not going to keep playing that way. Jeremy Grant is another one of those guys.
Yeah.
So I think at this point in the NBA season, as long as they're not going to change teams and the construct of what they're playing in, you can trust what you're seeing. We've had a lot of trade talk about Zach Levine also. His numbers are just ungodly. They're completely ridiculous. I had him as a bust coming in. So I'll admit when I'm wrong about something. He has proven to be that. Let me ask this. Is Anthony Davis a good buy low, or are you too worried about his health?
They announced this week, the Lakers said he's not coming back for at least another 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know how much he's going to be playing when he gets back. The Lakers are going to save him for the playoffs. I would not want to trade for him. I feel it's a huge risk. I don't think he's going to be out there playing 35, 40 minutes a game. I feel if he comes back, he'll be a 20-minute guy. The Lakers don't really care if they're a 1 seed or a 2 seed. As long as they're a 3 or 4 seed, they're fine. So I would not want to trade for Anthony Davis.
I'm with you, Ross. And I found it feels funny to say that because he's the kind of guy that you'd always want on your team, but he's not going to have that type of year. What about Bam Adebayo? What's your take on him with his health and whether to buy?
I love the Miami Heat. They've been playing great basketball. They've been winning. They've been looking great. They have a great nucleus. Bam's a great player. I'm worried about his health. I think his right now his stock's down because he's not playing. If you can pick him up for like a good trade, it's a great idea to do that right now.
Yeah,
right now is the time to buy him.
Now I'm going to mention two members of the Sacramento Kings before we wrap up.
Go.
Tyrus Halliburton. This guy has
Iowa State rookie. I love that guy.
And he's been really, really great. And so I think you want, and Holmes is the other guy. He got cut in our league. It was
Rashard Holmes, another great one. Yes, I like Rashard. I also like, I know you don't like him and we don't talk to him about it much. I like Harrison Barnes also. He's been averaging like 18 points a game the past couple of weeks and 7 rebounds. I mean, he's been somebody that is way under the radar and it could help you win your league.
Yep. So listen, we're going to keep this coming, but remember, trade deadline is coming in the NBA and it's coming in I almost said in real life, as if fantasy sports is more real life. That's hilarious. But it's all coming up. So you want to be thinking about these things. We want to thank you for watching. It's been a great show. We hope we brought you lots of good names to think about. Thank you, Ross the Boss. And I want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and we will get back to you personally. Thank you for watching MFSN's Waiver Wire Basketball Show.
Buy any case of Gilcliff, the clean energy drink, and get dinner for 2 on the moon. Go to Gilcliff.com.
Offer valid, totally valid. Transportation to the moon not included. Dinner not to exceed $50 or moon dollars, whichever is less at the time of redemption. We have no idea what the currency exchange rate is on the moon. We totally made that part up. They sound cool, but there's no such thing as moon dollars. But it would be neat if there were. Gilcliff, big on huge in space, created by a Navy SEAL for people who aren't Navy SEALs. The official energy drink of Space Force and other people who aren't Navy SEAls. The biggest no-brainer in the history of drinks.